This year is Pokemon's 30th year anniversary, but what does that even mean? Should we be excited? Today on the podcast, we're joined by Hoops and Hip Hop to break down everything that we could expect to see on Pokemon Day. We're talking Generation 10, Pokemon Champions, Pokopia, Pokemon ports, and so much more. Subscribe if you're new and let us know in the comments what you're most excited to see announced on Pokemon Day. Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast. My name is DustyGogoat, and today I'm joined by TraderLumi.
Howdy.
SoulSilverArt.
What's up?
And Hoops and Hip Hop today.
Hello, Lumi. I was going to say howdy, and you stole my
Oh, were you? Oh, man. The one time I said howdy, and it was going to be...
I think that's happened before. I think that's happened before.
We talked about it on the last episode. I was like, I need a tagline.
Yeah,
you guys got to battle it out.
Howdy.
Ah, dadgummit. I'm sorry.
in Champions, in Pokemon Champions, when that drops finally, we need to have a showdown to decide who gets the howdy intro.
We can do a ZA Royal. Is that what? Yeah, like between
Sure,
the four of us right now. You know,
Yeah.
Soul's gonna win it, and Soul's gonna be like he's just gonna claim the howdy intro. It's SoulSilverArt, howdy.
Yeah. And then he won't use it. That'll be
Yeah,
like,
I can't do
and then he
howdy.
won't use it.
He'll just tuck it away.
I can't do howdy. Howdy's not it for me.
Yeah.
Give it a try, Soul. Give us a howdy.
Howdy.
That was good.
All right, so on a previous episode, we spent a full 2 hours diving into all of our expectations and what we want to see in Generation 10, in Pokemon Champions, and all the games that we're anticipating to learn about on Pokemon Day on February 27th. But because we have Hoops here today, we do want to not only go a little bit deeper and talk about some of the things that we missed on that previous episode, but we also just want to get, a different take on what we could see during the 30th year anniversary celebration on February 27th. So yeah, I guess I'll do the top level. This is the rundown. We're expecting to see Generation 10, probably new starter Pokemon, the names of these games, maybe a hint at the Legendaries, but I think what we're all hungry for and excited to see is kind of like what this world is going to look like, maybe what the region's based on, the protagonist, but really, again, graphics. I think we want to see what the vibe of this game is going to be. Not to segue or to not to get off topic, but Monster Hunter 3 has been going around the internet, videos of that new title, which I think I will be picking up. I picked up the demo, and that game looks so gorgeous. It doesn't look like Unreal Engine. It doesn't look like it's not like modern realism for a video game. It still has like a cartoony fantasy look, and I think that might be a really good I don't know, for Generation 10. I definitely want to see what the game is going to look like. We're going to be sitting with for the next 4 years.
That's kind of a good point too. You saying like it wasn't hyper realistic. I wonder if, because in Scarlet and Violet, the Pokemon were like textured, right? Like you could see scales on a Seviper, you could see like the fur on like an Arcanine. But then in Legends ZA, they went back to like your more like classic anime-esque style where you couldn't see the textures. I wonder what Gen 10 will be.
Yeah. I kind of imagine it'll be more so geared towards Gen 9's vibe. I feel like that's like the main, not the mainline Pokemon, but like mainline video game like look. And I
disagree. No,
they've been going that direction more with. Well, I guess it's just Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet doesn't look good though. It looks so
Pokemon
bad.
Do though, and a lot of people think that
the Pokemon looked good.
Yeah.
Some more
I don't know
than
about
others.
the actual
I
world.
think they went a little bit too far into the realism. Okay, let me keep going let me keep going down on the rundown. Actually, this is what I was going to bring up. This Monster Hunter. Here, hold on, right here. This is kind of what it looks like. This is what we're talking about for viewers. You can kind of see this. Yeah, it's pretty. There is realism to it, but there's detail. Whatever. All right, let me keep going. Just to set the stage for Hoops, and I want to hear what Hoops has to say. Pokemon Champions is also something that we're expecting to see. We don't know anything about this game. It's a Game Freak title. It's going to be a battle simulator allegedly, but we don't know anything about it. Pokopia, we're definitely going to learn something about that on Pokemon Day because that game comes out a week later, like 5 days later. I think there's also a lot of anticipation for some sort of port Pokemon port, whether that's going to be Generations 1, maybe Gens 1 to 3. I mean, we definitely know we're getting Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness, but I think beyond that, some sort of ports, some sort of port collection, classic Pokemon game collection for the 30th year is what people are anticipating. And yeah, I think that makes sense. I think something like that would make sense for the 30th year anniversary. There's also rumors, which we'll get into. That's pretty much it in terms of like things that feel like a lock or at least are like likely to happen. That's the list. That's the short list. There are some other things that could happen. But Hoops, what are you thinking about when it comes to February 27th and Pokemon Day? What are you excited for?
Well, you mentioned starter Pokemon earlier, which
yes,
goes without saying, but like when you said that, I just like started like frothing at the mouth a little bit because I'm just like so excited for new starters, and I'm super hyped about that. But
for sure.
As far as other stuff goes, it's going to be interesting to see because you guys obviously you always bring up ports. That's always a wild card.
I bring up ports.
I'm of the feel. Yeah, you bring up ports. I'm of the feeling that like I think because it's the 30th anniversary, there is a shot that could happen. But like this is the 1 year where there's a shot. If it doesn't happen here,
right,
you're gonna have to wait at least 5 years for the next anniversary before it happens. So this is like do or die for that, in my opinion. One thing that I think no one has mentioned that I think is decently likely, if not like very likely, is Mega Garchomp Z. I think they could drop that
sure
one day. And I actually kind of have a theory about that because a couple years ago, it was like in the Gen 9 era, I made a video where I talked about how Garchomp is not from Sinnoh originally, because in its dex entries it talks about how Sinnoh is not its home, and then in Alola it talks about how its original home is even hotter than Alola, and I think it mentions the tropics somewhere in there, and Indonesia is in the tropics.
Yeah.
We're getting a Mega Garchomp Z that hasn't come out yet, so maybe there could be a tie in there.
Dude, I love that.
That's really good.
That's super
I like
fun.
that a lot.
Yeah, and
cool
it's also like if that were to happen, it would just be so perfect because obviously as we've talked about, Indonesia is really close to Australia. Australia is the home of like where everything's upside down and backwards and they have crazy animals. What's crazier than a shark that can walk on land? So like it would just be so perfect if they were like, this is where Garchomp originally comes from. Like that'd be so cool.
That'd be wild. It is interesting because you're like, what are we gonna do with Garchomp Z? I guess on that day, even like you just get it and then you have Garchomp Z, you know. So it would be cool if they tied it in somehow to something to make it more relevant, I suppose.
I
feel like they waited pretty long.
Why did they hold it if all it is just you go into a rift, you fight it, you get it, you know?
I wonder if people would even do it in general. Like some people might not even.
You know it. I know it. Being a Pokemon fan right now is kind of brutal, right? You can't find anything. Prices are wild. And that's why I'm really excited to announce that Hidden Power has partnered with Awesome CCG. This is my real-life local card shop right here in New England. Awesome CCG has the largest selection of Pokemon TCG. When other places are dry, they've got product in store, but also on their website. And listen, you're gonna love these people. When I was at the shop earlier today, they could not resist bringing up how high I put Surskit on our Generation 3 tier list. If you're chasing Charizard right now, Phantasmal Flames is a great expansion. And I'm also really excited to get Ascended Heroes and Perfect Order. And these are going to be big sets. They're going to be in high demand. Awesome CCG has so many English Pokemon cards available. They got everything, all the new stuff. But personally, I like to get the Japanese packs. This means I don't need to wait. I can get the same exact beautiful artwork, but before all of my friends see them online. And usually they're a little bit cheaper. You can check out everything that they have on their website. They'll have all the new English sets. It's gonna be so cool to actually get like physical Pokemon cards of the new Generation 10 starters when those come out. Right now, Hidden Power listeners can get 5% off any regular priced merchandise by using the link in the description or the pinned comment. And they don't just have Pokemon cards. They've got board games, role-playing games, plushies, Funko Pops, other TCGs like Lorcana, One Piece, and even Magic the Gathering. If you've been burned by empty shelves, this is the move. Don't forget 5% off for Hidden Power listeners. Link is in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you to Awesome CCG for sponsoring. And now back to the video.
Yeah.
Just be like, whatever.
It's weird because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of story to it. And obviously we've kind of moved on from ZA at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is that maybe it's like a Pokemon Champions thing where it's like cross promotion and they're like, you can use this in Pokemon Champions because it's coming out today or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
That would make sense because it's you're right, like even more so on Pokemon Day, like once they revealed Gen 10, like who's thinking about going back to ZA on that day?
Yeah.
Plot twist, they don't reveal Gen 10.
That would be a plot twist.
Mega Garchomp is the big reveal.
It's the last thing they show.
So underwhelming.
He goes,
it does say,
we do have one more video to show you. And then it's just Mega Garchomp Z.
But
Like
Mega
the
Garchomp Z
Zipporah
is
one.
coming to Pokopia and not ZA. So the Dex entry you're talking about, it says, this is the one I think you're talking about, from Sword version. It says, Garchomp makes its home in volcanic mountains. It flies through the sky as fast as a jet airplane, hunting down as much prey as it can.
So
That's the mention of the volcanic mountain.
The Dex entries I was talking about are Gibble's Dex entries, actually.
Oh, Gibble.
Oh.
Okay,
That's
let's
where
see
they
this, let's see
mention,
this.
like, it mentions the tropics. It mentions that its original home is hotter than Alola. It's, like, interesting stuff.
Yeah, in Pearl, it once lived in the tropics. To avoid the cold, it lives in caves warmed by geothermal heat.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Sinnoh is not tropical, not really. It's like based
Not
on
at
Hokkaido,
all.
which is the most northern place in Japan, and it's always about snow and all that. So it's a very interesting line.
Yeah.
Dude, that's really
Oh,
cool.
Pokedex.
I love that.
And then
Yeah,
Ultra Moon, its original home is an area much hotter than Alola.
Yeah. And,
Bro,
like,
that's
what could be
super
hotter
fun.
than Alola other than, like, Australia or, like the Sahara Desert? Like, those are the
Yeah.
only two
Right.
places,
Or a
So-
volcano.
Or a
Did
Did
volcano.
Alola have a volcano? Am I?
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Whale of Volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
there's
good,
that.
so good. All right, so yeah, Mega Garchomp Z. I think that's a super fair prediction. Is there? I mean, I guess before we just jump into like Generation 10 speculation, because I got a bunch of ideas here that I think would be fun to talk about. Is there anything specific that you're anticipating or excited for when it comes to Pokemon Champions or Pokopia? Yeah, I guess we can start with that. We can start there.
Pokopia is probably what I'm more excited for, so I guess I'll start
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how much I'll play it because it is a spin-off, and I'm struggling with, this is a whole other tangent that I won't get into, but I'm struggling with like my moral fiber when it comes to the whole game keycard situation. Because
Sure.
I told myself I did not want to buy any of those games, but obviously Pokopia is that. So I'm like, do I make an exception because it's Pokemon? Or so I'm like struggling. I'll probably end up getting it eventually.
Let's talk about that for a minute. What do you dislike? Like, what is the issue that you're thinking about? Because I actually just bought a game key card game this week.
Basically, I'm just like anti-digital games in general because I want to own the thing that I'm buying, and with digital you own a license to play it that they can revoke at any time whenever they want to for whatever reason, and with the game key card it's essentially just like a half step between physical and digital, where it's like, okay, we'll give you this cartridge, but there's not a game on it, you have to download it. So it's just like, it's kind of just like a slap in the face, and I don't want to encourage scummy corporate behavior like that. So
Right.
So I'm just kind of like iffy on it, but I may pick it up because, again, like if I'm going to make an exception to that rule, it's going to be for Pokemon, and it does look really fun. And also, to get back to like things I'm excited for, I'm really, really interested to see if the like the post-apocalyptic story that it seems like this game has actually becomes a thing in the game, because that could be really, really cool. Like that would take this up a whole other level for me.
Yeah, for real.
That is something that I haven't really given too much thought, but recently this week I was talking to someone else and it kind of picked back up in my mind that like this game Pokopia, right? It's not a classic Pokemon game where you're a trainer and, you know, it's a different game. But I actually think there's a possibility that we will be able to basically travel to every nook and cranny of the Kanto region. Like we can basically go to anywhere in the Kanto region, but like within this, right? It's a post-apocalyptic version of the Kanto region. And this
would be crazy if it was the whole region. It'd be nuts.
I mean, I was looking at some of the information from the Terra League, and I found there were some images of like basically outlining where Pokopia, from what we've seen, where it takes place, being Fuchsia City, and kind of in reference or in, this map was like positioned among the rest of the Kanto region, and I'm very confident we're going to be able to travel outside of this little area.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that we.
I mean, we know that like we saw like you can turn into a Lapras and kind of surf to other islands and stuff.
Or a Dragonite and fly to another
or
one.
Dragonite and so I mean, it definitely this is so interesting because it has like we've gotten no information on it. That's kind of similar to Champions 2. We've gotten no information on it, but also like the information we've gotten about Pokopia is, or like if you read between the lines, there is so much like what, you know, but they don't really explain it. Like, you know, the whole thing where you're a Ditto, you saw a picture of a human, so you decided to become that human, and it's very clearly post-apocalyptic. It's all like
as Dittos do.
Yeah. well, the implication there is that like, because there's the Pokedex and there's the Pokeball that it bursts out of. So like the implication is that this person was Ditto's trainer, but they're not around anymore because they died apparently. And so Ditto is just like escaping for itself. So there is
Ditto is like, Weekend at Bernie'sing us.
Yes. Yes. And there's just like such
I didn't even get that reference.
You never seen Weekend at Bernie's?
No.
Dude, come on.
Am I the only one here who hasn't seen it?
I have heard of it, but I've not seen it.
Because just to peel back the curtain, Lumi was making fun of me for being an old man because I was being nostalgic for appreciating Pokemon Red version earlier today, and he's making references literally from the same time period, but like of just whatever. Okay,
I think that's actually before that time.
I think I think it might be older than that.
I just want to be clear about who the real old man is. On this
I'm an old soul. I admit it.
Yeah, exactly.
I listen to Jimmy Buffett.
Keep going.
I was just gonna say, Lumi listens to Jimmy Buffett. He's like the oldest guy here.
Sure.
I'm like, who's Bernie? Bernie Sanders? Did he have a party in Vermont? I could have gone to. All right,
but I just think if they lean into that and don't just make it like a subtle thing that's there, but they don't bring attention to, this game could be like so good. Like it's already got tons of potential because it's Animal Crossing Pokemon, but if they bring in a post-apocalyptic element, it takes it like 5 levels above that, in my opinion.
Because that's the thing in Generation 1 that I feel like that was like some of the like, what do they call that? Like environmental storytelling, if that is even what it is. Like there were in the original Red, Blue, and Yellow games, like there's all these hints at like, you know, like failed clones, and there was a Pokemon war, and things are deteriorating, and like it was all about like, it almost felt like Pokemon were like mutants, you know, and that is the flavor of the same genre of post-apocalyptic. So it would be really cool. Yeah, this game had like that element of the potential of this game is really exciting. And I guess to add on to that in terms of like gameplay, what could happen and what I'm kind of holding my breath for is that like the developers of this game or the people who are working on Pokopia, they also built this other game that I have not played, but what is it called? Dragon Quest Builders 2. And there is like basically combat in that as well. The idea that you could basically, you know, it's like you are the little Ditto that gains how to use, you know, Razor Leaf because of a Bulbasaur. What if you can now use that Razor Leaf on other Pokemon, you know, or to defend yourself. Like that's pretty sick.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm starting to think this is literally like, you know how like I've been saying like, okay, we got a Kanto game on the Switch 1. I think I'm starting to believe this is the Switch game on Switch 2.
I was going to say
the Kanto game on Switch 2.
When you said that, when you were like, we could go anywhere in Kanto, I was like, is this the Kanto
This
remake?
is the Kanto game.
This is the
Kanto open world game.
I mean, it makes sense because it doesn't. I mean, it's a bummer because what I actually want is like a, you know,
Legends.
I actually want, yeah, like I want like a Kanto game where it's like the story we know, but like the whole world is actually 3D and explorable, and it's not just linear routes. Hilarious that this version of Kanto is still block based and tile based, right?
You can roam around though. I don't know how
Yeah.
much, but you can walk not in a grid. So that's something. One thing that's like this is total theory territory, but it would be so cool. So you know how we've got like Pikachu and Moslax and Smearguru.
Yeah.
They're like the key characters. Smearguru kind of throws a bit of a wrench into this, so I feel like it won't totally fall in line. But Pikachu and Snorlax are two of Red's Pokemon. So how crazy would it be if like all these special Pokemon, or maybe like a chunk of them, are Red's Pokemon? And so it's like you basically find out that they're what's left behind after whatever happened to Kanto, and now they're like the important Pokemon of this game because they were the Pokemon of like the most powerful trainer who's now gone because something happened.
That's a really good theory.
I think that works because like
could totally be
even like Professor Tangrowth, like while you know we don't know if Oak has a Tangrowth, I was like thinking it's interesting that he's the professor and you find Tangela in that little patch of grass right below Pallet Town, which is where the professor's lab is. So it kind of makes sense that like in a post-apocalyptic scenario, Tangela wanders into the lab, you know? So they are like tied. So, you know, maybe even the ones that aren't tied to Red are tied to someone somehow, you know?
Right. Yeah. You're cooking with that. Another thing I noticed just barely as you had like the key art up was that there's obviously more than just Kanto Pokemon in this game, but most of the ones that I noticed that were on that big picture are Pokemon that are like Japanese coded. So there was like Makuhita, obviously from Hoenn, but then there was Tatsugiri, Japanese coded. There was Pawmi, who's a Pikachu clone, Japanese coded. So there very well could be that kind of vibe, and that might just amount to the
it's
vibe,
Kanto, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense.
I like the feeling, or I like that they're going with that specific theme of Pokemon.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah, I think where we're at with Pokopia is that we just want to know more about it. I think it seems like kind of a random game, but I do think what's also exciting about Pokopia is that it very much is not trying to be just like it is truly a completely different game, and I think a lot of new people are going to come into the franchise because of this, which is awesome.
Absolutely. It's also another thing exciting about it is that it comes out in like just a couple of weeks. Like this is we're right on this.
New game.
Yeah. And the thing with like bringing more people into the series, I think that's all the more reason to do some kind of like crazy story thing, because if you just like give them a place where they can build stuff, like they're gonna love that obviously, and they're gonna get attached to Pokemon and stuff. But if that just continues forever, it's not really gonna make as much of an impact as if, say, you have all these little connections to Kanto, and then people are like, maybe new people who haven't really played main Pokemon games, are like, well, what's all this going on? And maybe that sort of leads them into wanting to try Let's Go or Fire Red Leaf Green or whatever. And just maybe, hang on, I'm cooking. Maybe that's why they bring out ports, because they're like, we want to get people into Pokemon. So they drop Red and Blue or Fire Red and Leaf Green as a gateway game that these people can go into.
Totally. I guess the only thing I want to clarify there is like, I think this game having relation to and referencing past games, yes, that can serve as a gateway. I guess I want to say, like, I also think those connections are mostly relevant to like us, the super fans. you know, the people who are invested like in the lore and stuff. But I do think there's some crossover. Like, no one's gonna get this game because like my wife and niece who discovered about this game like 3 weeks ago and freaked out, right, in a way that none of us have on this podcast, right? The way that they freaked out had nothing to do with the fact that like, oh, maybe it's related to Kanto and there's lore here. That's exciting for us.
Yeah.
But I just want to be clear about that. Like, I think this is actually just going to like be huge, independent of all like the lore stuff. But the lore stuff is sick because also like Game Freak has their fingers in this, you know?
I mean, it's like if it's a mystery though, like obviously they're not going to solve it. That's what I've been saying about this game is like, yeah, there could be like that backstory there, but ultimately this is not a game that probably ends or in any way, you know what I mean? It's just like you just play it. So like I don't know if there's an actual plot to the whole thing other than like a background story and like little teases to things. So like maybe the teases, like you were saying, Hoops, could be like, you want to see this, you want to see this Kanto before it was post-apocalyptic? Well, go play Fire Red and Leaf Green or something.
Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Yeah. I think there will be a plot in the same way that, ironically, the Kanto games have a plot where it's like it doesn't tell it to you. You go read it in a diary in Cinnabar Mansion, and like there's background elements that come together, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. I think very much the same thing will happen here, where it's like they're never going to come out and say Kanto got hit by a bomb and everyone died. But they will sort of allude to it and be like, something happened and now people are gone and now Pokemon have to rebuild. Like I think there will be a thing there that's like you were saying, Dusty, like people like your niece and your wife, they're gonna love it because it's like, I can make a town with Pokemon, sold. Yeah. But then they're gonna be like, they're gonna sprinkle this stuff in the game where it's like, ooh, something happened, there's a mystery, like what happened to this place, and that's gonna hook people in like a whole other way. So it's just gonna be like tons of just like really cool concepts that are just gonna be like sucking people in. And that's why
it's like Legends Arceus, you know, like how that was like the gameplay of it was supposed to drive in these people who, you know, wanted an action element, but then at the same time it was very much like a love letter to the people who did play Diamond and Pearl.
It's respectful.
15 years ago or whatever.
It's in conversation with the rest of the mainline Pokemon games, right? Like that's something that happens often. Like we dismiss these spin-off games because they feel random and disjointed from the games and the stories and the characters that we like know, right? In just like in the canon, like the mainline games. But what's appealing about Pokopia is that it does seem in conversation with, like it's all part of the same, you know, continuum, which is nice. I think that's what we appreciate.
For sure.
But you know, Hoops, you mentioned, we're talking about right now, like maybe this game hinting or being connected to like past Pokemon games or future Pokemon games. So I think we could talk about ports if we wanted to. What's your whole take on ports? What's your whole take on maybe like another, you know, just it's the 30th anniversary, giving us access to some past games. What's your take on that? Is this something you even want? Is there a specific game that you would actually want to play? Where's your mind at?
So, like any Pokemon fan, I would love ports because I think about playing one of the classic early Pokemon games on my Switch 2 on my big TV, and I just start freaking out. Like, that's such a cool idea. However, I am a realist when it comes to ports because there's people like you out there that are like, ports are coming. And it's just like, no, they're most likely not coming because...
Well, the signs were there.
I personally believe that Pokemon, regardless of whether you agree with it or not, I feel like Pokemon really values the value that they have in just like the market. Like... And what I mean by that is if you try and go buy an old Pokemon game, it's going to be like $100. Like it's crazy valuable. And I think Pokemon likes the fact that their old Pokemon games are worth so much money because it gives them a perception of Pokemon is a valuable brand. And cutting into that with ports, obviously is going to lower those prices and is going to lower the perception of that value. Now, obviously, they don't see any of that money, but I do feel like that's a that's a talking point for them.
Yeah.
However, with that said,
I don't even think it's a talking point. I do think they see the money. I think what you're saying actually is a really good point, that like, yes, they're missing out on the little bit of money they could make for those games, but all of that energy and attention is instead, like, people need to release it, and instead of releasing it on these like old games, they release it on the new $60-$70 games.
Yeah, and just like as far as that whole argument goes, if let's say they released all their games like on the eShop or whatever, and now the old original copies are worth like $10. Well, if they're worth $10, that's not, no one's going to care about that. No one's going to remember that. But now, because you can't buy Black and White 2 for under $80, $100, now you got people talking about that. Like you're going to have like your aunt or your uncle be like, holy crap, these Pokemon games are crazy. And it's going to like it's just going to make Pokemon feel more like a legit valuable entity versus if all their old games that are secondhand now are dirt cheap. I just think there is, I feel like there is a certain business element in terms of like making Pokemon as an intellectual property feel high value and feel super relevant, because obviously it's old, and a lot of people do think about it as like this franchise that was really popular, but now it's not really popular anymore. So I just feel like in terms of its rep, there's something to say in terms of like that being important to them. But with that said, I'm not someone who doesn't think they will never happen. I think they could. And like I said, I would really love it if they did. And like I said earlier, I think this year is like the year for it to happen, because I don't really feel like they do this on a random year that's not an anniversary. Mm-hmm. To me, it just doesn't make sense. The last time we got ports obviously was with the 20th anniversary, and then they followed that up with Gold and Silver, but it was very much an anniversary type thing. The other thing that I also think about is obviously the next ones that they would want to bring out are Ruby and Sapphire, because they did Gen 1, Gen 2. But to me, Ruby and Sapphire, bringing those out like now makes no sense at all. Like I was thinking about it. I was like, why would they bring out Ruby and Sapphire? That's just like so out of pocket. So
the only connection I can make is that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the Gen 3 remakes and Gen 6, were a direct sequel to X and Y. Not a direct sequel, but like, you know, that was like the third version. It like continued on the Mega Evolution lore and story.
It was the Better Call Saul to Breaking Bad, yes.
I think I understand that one. Yeah. It was the House of the Dragon to...
Where it's like a spin-off / sequel. Yeah.
It was the Star Wars The Clone Wars of Attack of the Clones. Yeah. But like, so that's the only connection I can make, and it's like, in ZA they did, you know, if we got to remake a ZA, but like, you know, I don't know. I feel like there's maybe some relevance there. Keep going.
I was going to go in a different direction with it, but with respect to the Hoenn argument, doesn't make as much sense. But what does make sense is Fire Red and Leaf Green, because they're the remakes of the Kanto games. Obviously, like that would just, GBA games on Switch 2, just being able to play that like on the TV, that would be, that's just like,
please.
I was gonna say,
I hadn't even thought of playing it on the TV, dude. Oh my gosh,
Lumi, you get it? That's literally Lumi. That is why I want ports. I want to play these on a TV.
Holy cow!
Have you wait? Have you never thought of that? That's literally like one of the main reasons why I want
I'm excited for ports, but I'm just excited to be able to play them on a console that like I have readily available, and other people can play them, because like a lot of kids nowadays aren't going to have a Game Boy Advance to play it on. So that's where my head's always been. I've never even thought of the idea of, like, when I play it, I was thinking handheld, but I've never even thought about, but it's a Switch. I can put it up there,
Okay. I want to do. Okay, start the clock. 60 seconds. It's Dusty's story time. I fell in love with the Generation 3 games because I ended up getting a GBA player attachment for my GameCube. So for like 8 years, I like gens, mostly Gold, Silver, mostly Crystal version, and then all the Generation 3 games. I fell in love with them as an adult, playing them on a TV, right? at college with my friends in a community setting, and it was so much fun to just play those games on the big screen. It was so much fun. And during the pandemic, I wanted to play. Lumi actually has the clock up, I think. I gotta hurry up. I'm stressing. I wanted to play the Generation 4 games on a big screen, so I spent so much money buying a 3DS, sending it out to be whatever you call it, to get the capture card inside of it. I finally got it back. I plug it into the TV. I didn't even get it right because guess what? It doesn't upscale the game, so it looked like crap. But I've invested so much time in the pursuit of playing these games on a big screen. And at this point, that's like literally I honestly don't mention it enough. But when I like in my mind, if I'm playing a Switch 2 title, it's implied that I can play it on the TV, which is dope, you know?
I mean, even on the I know that's a huge thing, but like even on the console, even on like just the 1 minute 12.
Yes,
pretty close.
1 minute 12 seconds. Let's go.
Even on the console though, like the screen of the Switch 2 is like way bigger than the Switch 1. I mean, it depends how they like
and it would be scaled up.
Port it, obviously. You know, like how is it going to be? Is it going to be like a square or something? I don't know. But yeah, I'm probably the only person that just isn't too interested. I know you were talking about every Pokemon fan wants these. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Well, I think if you don't play games that often, like, yeah, then it's not going to be like a high, that's totally fine. I do like I enjoy having these games be accessible and being able to play them, and then also being able to like, right, connect them to Pokemon Home very easily, right? It's like that's the ecosystem that I like and I enjoy, but that's just for me. It's not for everyone. But
for me, it's more about. It's probably about the price more than anything. Like, what's the value of this to me? You know, like how much are you paying for this? How much would you pay up to? You know, I'm not paying $60 for this.
They won't do it $60. Like Red,
it would be a bundle if it's
Red, Blue, Yellow,
$60,
$10 each. Like that's what these would be.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I was gonna say like, because I'm really trying to scope down my cope. Like, okay, this image in the middle where it has like all the games, I'm not really expecting that, but like
that's what I would want. A big one.
You would want that, but you're not gonna play it. You just
that's what I would want and would like, but just for having a collector's, it's like collecting it and I can play it whenever I want. Sure. The idea, you know.
Okay.
I would buy that and I would spend probably up to $60 on something like that if it had like all four generations in it or something.
Okay,
you know,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking, like, if I'm really gonna scope down like what could actually be possible, like, yes, it sounds nice to have like Gens 1 and 2 available, especially Johto, but I don't think those games are actually, they don't feel premium in 2026. I think they did during the 20th year anniversary on a handheld device. But if you got to scale these up, I think actually what they could do is they give us a red and a green version, and it's fire red and ruby, and then it's leaf green and sapphire, right? They could do something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I was gonna say, fire red and leaf green, I think, are actually like the gateway to then also release Ruby and Sapphire, because like I said, Ruby and Sapphire doesn't really make sense, but Fire Red does. And then when you do Fire Red, the other Gen 3 games are Ruby and Sapphire, so it like is like the domino that allows them to potentially release more down the line. So I feel like if they were going to do any games, these would be the games. And just to add a little bit of copium to this, because this would never ever happen, but if they really wanted to sell some games, obviously in Red and Blue they did add some, like they added like online trading, you know, and then with Crystal version they allowed you to catch Celebi, so like they did do some tweaking to the games. This
absolutely, there's so many things in these games there's so many like events and things that they could bring back into the game to make not only the literal like tangible experience of the game different, like they could elevate it by making it, you know, HD, essentially scaling it up. You can play it on the TV, right? You can do like trading through Wi-Fi. Like not only could they do all those things, but even the single player campaign could be elevated.
What I was going to say is, and again, this would never happen, but they could add like trades or something like that, like they did with Let's Go, to bring in the Cantonian forms. And can you imagine? Cantonian
No,
corn
that's
sprites.
not. I'm not holding my breath for that.
I
That
know,
sounds awesome.
Never.
That
I'm not-
sounds too
but
good
awesome.
to be true.
Yeah.
Because that's an alteration of the base game, right?
Yeah.
Because
But-
that's like remake.
But it's a
remake
good
territory.
alteration.
That's
Yeah, because
like-
then
Yeah.
it's also a question of, at that point, do they have to also go in and change Clefairy to be a fairy type now? Do they
Yeah.
have to make Jigglypuff
Oh.
normal fairy?
And I
You
think
know?
no. I think no. That's like ROM hack territory. I think, yeah. I think what is possible
That's like-
to what you were saying, Hoops, is like you make Lugia available in Fire Red and Leaf Green because
Yeah.
they are available.
Right.
It's just no one has done that because you don't have you. It's like unless you went to an event, you weren't able to get the
Or you
know,
had a Game Shark?
or if you had a Game Shark, but you can get those Pokemon. You can get Deoxys. You can get Raikou
I
Entei
feel like these events should definitely be in there.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Deoxys.
I think
Those are
they would
done.
put them in. I think they would put them in.
I mean, and Gen 3 in that regard is perfect for this kind of stuff because there's so many events. There's those ones. There's there's the Mew event with Faraway Island. Like there's so many good events like that they could just make accessible, and that would just that would be super fun.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, like for legendary Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, I'm just gonna list them off right now. You can get Latias or Latios. You can get one of them in base Emerald or Ruby Sapphire. Now you could unlock the other one with the Southern Island, or what's it called?
Yeah,
You get the Eon ticket is what it's called.
Yeah.
And you can get the other one. The Mew event, Faraway Island. I think you get the old sea map. Is this? I feel like Oak is maybe making a cameo in this regard, or in relation to this. But that's so cool to actually be able to find Mew in the wild in like a canon way. This is like the only time you can actually find Mew like in the wild in a Pokemon game. That is so sick. For the 30th anniversary, that's so much fun. Again, you can go to Naval Rock in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Deoxys again. I feel like there's a couple. There's like Jirachi maybe.
I didn't realize those were
That
in
was
Emerald,
by
though.
connecting to like that Pokemon channel thing or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could make that. If they could hook that up. I wonder. But there's just so many fun things, right?
Yeah, there is. I was gonna say they add the rumored event where you like go in a rocket and go up to space.
Oh, yeah.
See, no, okay.
That's how they
Well,
do it.
we can have that conversation briefly. Like, I do also think I'm not expecting this, but again, 30th year anniversary. I guess I'm not even talking about the 30th year anniversary. I'm mostly talking about like, I think, like, yes, like we have these Legends games that are giving us new stories in familiar regions, and I'm happy with that. But I still think there's this hunger for replaying old games, and if that's not going to come in the way of a port, I think that could come in the way of like a truly polished, faithful remake. And I'm not saying BDSP because that did a lot of things wrong, but the format itself has been done time and time again in other franchises, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a meme to hit on BDSP, but like you can make I'm just saying a faithful remake of one of these games could do everything we're talking about that a port could do, but it could also do what you're talking about. It could add fairy type. It could add regional forms. It could add these other elements that, like, that's what BDSP did. We were able to get Manaphy. We were able to get Darkrai for the first time. Arceus. Like, that wasn't possible before in Diamond and Pearl.
But at what
without a Game
cost?
Shark.
I think this is a whole other tangent, but I think the BDSP situation is funny because it's like, yes, as remakes go, they obviously were not good remakes, but at the end of the day, what they allowed you to do is essentially what a port allows you to do, which is play Diamond and Pearl on your Switch. And if it was just a port, people would be going crazy. So it's like, it's kind of an interesting situation because it's like, people's expectations kind of formed the opinion of what they think about those games. And while, again, they're not great remakes, they're not what we wanted, obviously, they are still Diamond and Pearl on the Switch, which I feel like is a universally good thing. So
it is
kind of like how
it's
they
kind of like what
marketed it.
Soul said though, like earlier when he was like, but how much would they sell the ports? Because I'm not paying $60 for them. That's the thing, is like
That is
the
true.
idea
That is
that they
true.
would give us Fire Red and Leaf Green, be like, these are $15 on the eShop or however much, but they're like, here is Diamond and Pearl, but because it's a remake, it's really a new game, and we're going to sell it to you for $60. So it's a bit more of a spit in the face on that end.
It's like how they marketed it as well. It's like, is this marketed as a port, or is it like this is a whole new game? They were like, this is a whole new game,
and it's like, it's like from their perspective. I mean, I don't even think it's just a tough situation they put themselves in with that, because like from their perspective, you can't like, yes, you as a consumer, you would want this game to be $10-15 because it is essentially just a port. But from Pokemon's perspective, you can't make a remake and make this a big release and then put it out for $20. Like, what does that say about the quality of the product? You know, you're making it seem cheap. So they kind of had to make it $60 to make it seem like it was worthwhile. So it was like this weird catch-22 type of situation.
You know what?
They really should have just
I agree, but they could have
Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah,
like, and sold it at $30 or $20 or whatever. You know?
And platinum, just do all three and $30.
Because they weren't going to remake these games in the first place. Legends Arceus was the remake. Like that's what they were going to do, and then they just decided to do this last minute. And so because they decided to do it last minute, they should have just been like, it's the 25th anniversary, we're going back to Sinnoh, so here's the old games. Like, it would have been a slam dunk.
I think there's an in-between of the two examples you just gave. I think they could have priced BD, like in hindsight, they could have priced BDSP
$50.
Yeah, I was gonna say 40, right?
Yeah.
In between, like if we got a $20 bill and then like 60 is the norm, like okay, $40. Yeah, maybe even 50. But to just say that, like, listen, this is a remake. It cost resources to make this. Yes, it is valuable, but like it's not a full game, you know. But I can also see why they wouldn't do that, because also
there's no platinum.
Yeah, they charge it as whatever.
In fact, we took all of the platinum stuff away. Like there's nothing at all.
But like you can see it, like you can get Mew in this game, you can get Jirachi.
Yeah, those were nice little touches.
Happy.
Sure.
Like there's so many.
But it's like Pokemon. You say they like, you know, oh, they could have just sold it at $40, but at the end of the day, it's their best selling remake.
Yeah.
So, you know, like
that's so awful.
But
like at the end of the day, they're like, or we could have sold it at 60 and you'll buy it anyways. Thank you very much. You know,
it's a sign of the times though, like really, because Pokemon's been blowing up lately, like with popularity wise and prices all being, you know, crazy high with everything. So like take a lot to make, and a lot, you obviously are going to put it out for that much money, you know, like all of those things put together. And the point that you said, Lumi, is actually really interesting, because I was thinking about Gen 10 earlier. I think it was today, maybe last night, I don't know, but
every second of the day you're thinking,
like all the time. I'm just always thinking about Gen 10. But I was thinking about like just like price points and like how people are gonna buy these games like no matter what, and so like what they put in it. Like this is a whole big can of worms that I'm opening, but like the quality almost doesn't matter, because they just know that people are going to buy it. We're like in a Call of Duty situation almost, which I don't know if you guys follow that stuff, but just like every year they put out a game and it's just gotten worse and worse, but everyone buys them nonstop. And it's like, they're not going to change anything if people are buying them all the time. And I don't know what to do, because I love Pokemon. I want to buy Pokemon games no matter what, you know? So it's like,
well, I mean, that is like a real thing. I guess it's like, this is what, the new hill that I'm ready to die on is that, like, it wasn't that long ago when Pokemon games weren't considered the worst thing in the world.
Whoa, all this is great, but you know what else is great? All you lovely people. So many of you show up to support the show, whether you're just viewing it, you're commenting, you're liking, all that fun stuff. Some of you, though, go the extra step and actually financially invest into the show, which is what makes it all possible. And I want to specifically shout out our mythical tier supporters: Ryan, Cornet Highlander, Tyler Low 15, Case, Duke Norton, Normal Guide, Nicholas Taylor, SEH Art Gold, Nathan Shorter, Louis Gervais, Jen Renegade, Chief Keith, Ball Guy, Father Dagda, Slowbrook Fan 24, Steven 3338, Scudio, and the PokeKid 01. I want to shout out our Arceus tier supporter, Red, and I want to give a Gen 10 size shout out to our Game Freak Inc. level supporters, Bramtastic, Young Smokey, and Young Smokey. Said it twice because he is a supporter twice, both on YouTube and Patreon. Thank you all so much.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, everyone, for all the continued support. This is an independent podcast, and we're able to do what we do and release so much content because of supporters like you. If you want to get in on the action, if you want to actually support, financially, hit Hidden Power, this podcast, you can do so at our lowest tier, Legendary. $5 a month gets you so much. You get access to at a minimum, 4 additional Pokemon podcasts right here on this channel. Those will be available as a channel member or on Patreon. You also get, at this lowest tier, access to the secret Discord. That is where the whole community is. After the episode, we read the comments, but after the episode, the week later, no one's coming back to the comment section. But where the conversation is happening, it's on the Discord. There's so many other perks that you can get access to at that lowest tier. If you want your name read on the show, and we are cooking up some additional perks for this tier, the mythical tier, $25 a month or up, we will read your name on the show as a producer. And also this is actually only on Patreon. The perks on Patreon or YouTube are the same, but on Patreon, you actually save 20% by paying annually for your membership. Ooh. So that is an option. You can kind of lock yourself in, pay for it all up front at a discounted rate, and enjoy all of the benefits, that Hidden Power members receive at a discounted rate. Thank you guys for all the support. Now back to the episode. I think Pokemon games only started being clowned on. I mean, there were a couple major things, but it was kind of just like when it became a console title. It's when it became a console title that it started getting compared to like everything else on console, which does make sense. But like, as we discussed last week, Sword and Shield is not a bad game. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee look good and also play good. I don't care what you guys say. I think it's objectively not that bad. Good. It's not a bad game at all. It's like, yes, it doesn't have a lot of content, but like, it's not a bad game, right?
It does look good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
It does look good.
Lumi. He's so passive aggressive.
And what I'm saying is like Scarlet and Violet looked and played horrible. Mm-hmm. That's also a fun game. But if we're gonna clown on Let's Go, we also
played horrible.
It literally
played
horrible.
To play the first time, but it did crash all the time.
It plays horrible. The game plays horrible.
I think
I'm not saying it's irredeemable. I'm just saying like it literally is not a fun experience to play.
I would disagree with that because
I would disagree with that.
Everyone has their own experiences as far as the glitches and stuff. I think part of that, and this might be a hot take, I don't want to make anyone mad, but I feel like a lot of people who experienced glitches were looking for glitches, and so they happened. I know that's not true for everyone. I just know it's a crapshoot of a situation where some people got glitches, some people didn't get glitches. For me, I just played the game, and I had some hiccups, but not that many. And it's kind of funny because, like you say, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee looks great, and Scarlet and Violet looks bad visually. I agree with both of those statements, but personally, I had way more fun with Scarlet and Violet than I did Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Yeah. And I liked Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So like,
I think
there's a nuance where it's like, yes, we want our games to look good, but that doesn't mean like just because Scarlet and Violet looks bad means that it was bad. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it had the best finish to any Pokemon game ever. Like that whole Area Zero sequence, I was like, holy crap, like this is crazy. So there's so much to like about new Pokemon games still, and it's just a matter of just the polish level. And while I do agree with Soul that they can kind of get away with some stuff, I think it is different than like a Call of Duty situation because I think there is a sense of pride with Pokemon, especially because it's a Nintendo property. Like Nintendo obviously has a lot of pride in what they put out. So, and then there's just like the fans. I think the Pokemon fans in terms of their critiques is much different than Call of Duty critiques because Pokemon fans like live and die by this stuff, whereas Call of Duty people, there's Call of Duty fans for sure, but I feel like they're much more casual with how they consume the game versus Pokemon where it's like
Call of Duty is like
it's your entire
it's a multiplayer
lifestyle.
Game.
Yeah,
Call of Duty is a game that Call of Duty is like a medium. I mean, listen, I don't know. I actually haven't played Call of Duty in like over a decade. So if you're a Call of Duty stan, sound off in the comments. Tell us what you love about Call of Duty. I'm not actually trying to like poo-poo on it.
Call of Duty fans will be like, we don't love anything about Call of Duty.
But I do feel like Call of Duty is like the way I experienced it is like you buy it so you can play with your friends, right?
Yeah, that is a big part of it.
Still play. I just think, I think they are different. And I also think, again, I just think the hate on Pokemon games, this is my point. The hate on Pokemon games is so overblown I feel like the people who are complaining about Pokemon, actually, I mean, yes, there are fans of Pokemon who are not happy, and I do think there is 100% room for these games to be far better than they actually are. They like the Pokemon Company should be investing in Pokemon games at a much higher scale than they currently are.
They shouldn't be spending more on Super Bowl commercials than they're spending on the budget of their games.
Oh, he had to go
I
there.
think
don't start that. Don't
there.
start that.
What I'm saying is like Pokemon games are not like they have been bad recently, but that has not been the track record for the other 25 years that this franchise has been around. And so I'm holding on to hope. I forget what initially spawned this whole thing, but like I'm holding on hope. I really do think our socks will be blown off when Gen 10 is revealed. That's I'm standing by that.
I think it'll be good for sure.
Yeah, I think it will be good as well. I think ZA is a great barometer for that because ZA Windows aside, like this is not a Windows.
Dude, 100%. I'm like, so, like
this
it was
is not
agonizing.
Yeah, like my whole argument with that was like I thought the game looked perfectly good, and also I didn't buy it to just stare at windows.
Look at the windows. Look at screenshots.
I bought it to play the game, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, using that as a barometer and understanding that ZA is probably the baseline with like not a huge jump, but a little jump, like a slight jump, you know. Like, to me, I would be totally happy with that if that's what happened. And overall, I am very encouraged and optimistic as far as the general performance of the game, just based on what we've seen recently and the fact that we're on this console that's just so much more powerful. And also, this is not going to be their first open world game anymore. And also, it's not like their second or third game on a home console. It's like their sixth or something. Like all of the cards are aligned to where it's like this should be a pretty solid game, technically speaking. And so overall, I'm optimistic and I'm feeling good.
I think people wouldn't have hated on the way Legend ZA looked as hard if it just wasn't entirely within a city, because like New Moon Island looked gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
the Cave of Origins.
Yeah,
amazing.
Oh, yes, so I've really not got a chance to talk about this because I just really haven't had the space for it, I guess. But I was like, for those for the environments in general, I was kind of staring at them and I was like, if Gen 10 looks like this, I'm gonna be so hyped. And then for the Cave of Origin battles specifically, I was squealing like a little girl. I was like, this is so good. Like this is like what I imagined these battles looking like in my head when I was a kid playing the originals. I was like, this is like so amazing. And if we get just like anything remotely resembling that in Gen 10, which we can reasonably suspect that we will, regardless of what the battle style is like, it's going to be so cool. And I just think Pokemon, especially now that we like had the Super Bowl commercial and we're starting to get closer to the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, the hype.
There's a sense that like Pokemon is taking this anniversary seriously, and with Gen 10 being the marquee product of the anniversary, I think they're going to take that seriously too. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
The cynical part of me hopes it looks worse than Scarlet and Violet just for the kicks and giggles.
No, dude.
No, please, no. That'd be so bad. I agree. I've said it a few times, I think, on the podcast that I think that these are like assets from Gen 10. Like they're using the same things in the ZA DLC. Like, I think that we'll see like very similar things. So I think this is not, like you said, it's very reasonable to assume that it would look something close to this, just like in a different art style-ish, maybe, you know?
It could be. It won't be like 1-to-1, but as far as like quality levels, I think this is a baseline, and then you'll have like maybe like a half a step up. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, like, yes, New Moon Island, like this, you know, that like final scene, the final dream that you go into in the ZA DLC, like what I'm showing on screen right now. Yeah, it is cool. And then when this happened, I was like, I kind of couldn't believe like what we were looking at.
Right.
But if I do look at this screenshot, I gotta be honest, like, I don't think like I feel like the internet would still eat this up, like in a bad way. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the rocks. I'm looking at the trees. The same people that are, so hyper fixated on criticizing things that like don't actually matter in a video game, like windows. I feel like they would still say this tree and like, in this piece of granite, it still looks bad. But I think what is impressive or exciting about this screenshot and this setting of that finale was just the vibe. The fact that it felt like we were in like somewhere that wouldn't exist on planet Earth, wouldn't exist in just like any other video game. And I think that's Scarlet and Violet's biggest like sin, that like everywhere in the game felt like the same. Like none of it felt specific to the Pokemon universe. And this final location does feel like that, right? And if this was like I mean, it's like I don't know. We have a giant moon here, which isn't actually a giant moon, but it's actually a reflection of. It's a portal, to Lumio City. That feels so specific. It's like a new invention. It's like specific for this world. That's cool. Like I think that's what we've been missing in Scarlet and Violet. And when I look at Sword and Shield, and when I'm giving that game praise for like its visuals, that's kind of why I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm being transported, right? In Scarlet and Violet, you're just like in this empty biome. Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to go into it too much because I know we're going to do a Gen 9 retrospective.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like literally, the whole like there was no art style in Gen 9. But anyway, that's like beside the point. I just wanted to go back to like there's something you said, Dusty, where like Pokemon games have been like bad recently, and it's like it's really like how you define bad. I didn't even think about the bugs when you were mentioning it before, where you were like saying that it was buggy or that like it played bad. I think
when I go back to
in our minds when we were thinking about it, like even after Hoops was saying something, it's like we're thinking about like the fun aspect of the game and like did it like have like a good story and fun mechanics, I guess, and so like I would say Scarlet and Violet's probably on the lesser side, but it wasn't like bad,
the lesser side.
Bad.
I'm sorry, the lesser side of
good and bad.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, like so like I'd say that there's downsides to Scarlet and Violet, but I wouldn't say it's a bad like game. Other than yes, the bugs were bad sometimes.
I'm not even so much talking about the bugs. I'm talking about literally the experience of playing it was like yes, the first time I'm playing it, it's a Pokemon game, and I'm a Pokemon fan, and the core thing about a Pokemon game is there, so it is fun, and I did get a lot out of it, and I put in hundreds of hours, but when I go back to play it, it's just not the same. I don't know. And I think it's, again, what I'm mostly talking about is not necessarily the bugs, because I never had a crash, but it's mostly just like, it's just not like, I feel like in hand, it doesn't feel fun to play. It doesn't. And I feel like there's a lot of things that contribute to that. I'm just trying to say it's not just the bugs. I'm not harping on the bugs. I'm talking about the total experience. That's all. Just to clarify.
That's fair.
My position.
Fair. That's very fair. But yeah, that's your.
I had like the most fun playing through it. Like the initial story, I had the most fun, but it was kind of like, and I really enjoyed the first DLC. I wasn't a fan of the second DLC, but like it is like the more that I picked up Scarlet and Violet to do battles with someone or to train up a Pokemon, like the more I picked it up, the more I was like, this is so ugly. You know what I mean? So it was like the first time I played it, I was fine. But then I picked it up again. I was like, ooh. Then I picked it up again.
It's the visuals more than anything, for sure. The visuals are a big part of it.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we should save this for the retrospective, but
sure.
Like if you want to tie it into Gen 10 somehow, which is Gen 10.
I'm saying Gen 10's gonna blow our socks off. Like I think we've been conditioned and also coping, and we've also just been like held at gunpoint to enjoy modern Pokemon games and try to like dissect and pull out what we love. Like we're doing it right now. I'm being a little bit negative and you guys are like, well, it's not that bad. You guys are being negative on Let's Go. And I'm like, well, it's not that bad. Like there are things about all of these games that can be enjoyed. And for the last 5 years as Pokemon fans,
well, it's all subjective too.
Exactly. No, but that's my point. Like, but yeah, it is subjective, but like we've just been conditioned to cope and to make excuses. But I'm like, there used to be a point where we're like, we didn't need to make excuses.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long ago. It was like literally a couple years before we started this podcast.
Yeah, I do wonder if that's like just because of one bad game, or if it's because just like the online atmosphere and like
Yeah, I think it's a
people that are
mix.
just
I don't know.
super negative about
I
things.
just-
Because it's
At
been
the end of the
multiple
day,
bad
though-
games. There were some good games in there.
At the end of the day, though, it's bad if 3 years after a game releases, the company that makes it is like marketing. Look, if you're playing it on this console, the windmills work the way they're supposed to. Like marketing it like
Yeah.
we've done something good, and it's like, no, buddy, that's what it should have been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not. You don't get brownie points for fixing that.
Listen, they don't get brownie points, but I did have a lot of like. I actually think the game is like it's like tangibly different. Scarlet and Violet is a completely different game on Switch too.
It does feel different, but I think that's also what drew me to. Oh, you know what? Like gameplay aside, like the way the game runs aside, Paldea is butt ugly.
Yes, that's another one of my points. Yeah. I think it's so like there's nothing to do and it's ugly. Okay, yeah.
That's what I was saying. There's no art style, but yeah, we could save.
We're doing a retrospective on Generation 9 on the Patreon. Probably today we're going to be recording that. If you want to see that full review, and there will be positives, that is available for Patreon members. And
It'll be
channel
coming
members.
out this coming Monday for when y'all are watching this.
Lowest tier, $5. Links in the description. Hoops, we didn't even ask you, but we're going to ask
If you want to
after
join
if you
us.
want to join. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can answer offline. I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know. Hoops, I think all I'm just trying to say is I think for Gen 10, we could be very pleasantly surprised. That's like, again, I'm old enough to remember when these games were like beloved. Like a Pokemon game was beloved, and they've been struggling for 6 years. But let's not forget the Legends games. I know Legends EA got a lot of hate, but I'm like, it's actually a fun and experimental. Like there's some really good things in there. And we all love Legends Arceus, and Sword and Shield is aging nicely. Like I think there's like, I don't know. There's been a lot of progress.
You're talking about you're talking about like it's only been in the last couple of years that we've had this problem, and like everyone acts as if it's been like a decade.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like
I guess it's been pretty close to a decade.
Literally, no, like my point that I'm about to make is that it was just barely 4 years ago that we got what legitimately could be argued as the best Pokemon game ever in Legends Arceus.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could be that is absolutely an argument, and that was only a few years ago. So it's not like we're in this just like destitute state. Like yes, there's been discussions, but it's mostly honestly just the internet toxicity that is contributing to that. Because,
and also this expectation, because for 20 years, this is to add to your point, for 20 years, Pokemon games, like, they were iterative. Like, every game, yes, we would shed some features, but, like, every game felt like an improvement on what came before. And even if it was a major, like, we had some side steps with, like, Gen 5, but, like, it still was, like, a technical advancement, right? And then there was 3D, and then okay, no, it's not pixels anymore. Now it's like really like Sun and Moon is like really, really impressive. Like every game was better and better and better. And this Switch era was like, let's split up what these Pokemon games are into different genres essentially, or just different gameplay experiences. And I do think a lot of the monolith of a Pokemon fan, like I feel like there was a lot of friction with that idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, I that was a long add to your. I'm just trying.
You're
I'm
good.
Trying to add to your point.
I mostly feel like this all started when obviously the Nat Dex situation happened. Like people are literally so mad about that whole thing that they're willing to keep this kind of ridiculousness up like 6+ years later. And it's ironic as heck because obviously that happened in Sword and Shield, and I'm not like a Sword and Shield lover by any means. Pretty much I enjoyed it when I played it, but then afterwards thinking about it, I was just kind of like, to this point, I've kind of been like, yeah, not the best, not my favorite Pokemon game. It kind of just had every time I thought about it, I had this like just lukewarm kind of reaction to it. But then as like time has gone on, I'll see like gameplay of it and I'll be like, that looks good. And then I'll look at the Pokedex and I'll be like, this is a good Pokedex. There's a lot of good Pokemon here. So it's so like we're all, when it comes to Pokemon, we're such a prisoner of the moment because it's like there's all this reaction and this hype and all this discussion going on that it muddies up what the game actually is. And it's not until you get out of that like 3 or 5 years later that you can actually appreciate what the game was. The same thing happened for me with Alola as well, because Alola kind of had the same sorts of vibes for me where it was like, I'm not as into the tropical vibe as, say, like the Kalos vibe or the Sinnoh vibe. But like several years on, I'm like, we got aliens from outer space. We got literally got, like, Golisopod. We got like all this cool stuff. And
the ride Pokemon.
This is killer. And so it's like, I hate that we can't just appreciate what we have in the moment. And that's like a bigger life thing too. But it's just like, I find,
let's all take a moment. Like, let's take a moment of silence.
Yeah. I find myself experiencing that time and time again, where it's just like, I look at a game that's 5 years old and I'm like, this is actually awesome. Like, why didn't we appreciate it? And I think the same thing will continue to happen. Like, obviously Scarlet and Violet has its faults, but 3 or 4
there's so many good things
down
to think
the road,
about
I'm gonna be like, this was awesome, that was awesome, like this is crazy, like
100%.
It's just So we're not as in a bad of a state really as I feel like the internet makes it out to be.
Oh, definitely not.
Because again, I'm like the most dude, I honestly, I feel like I've never talked to you about this, but like I completely agree. I feel like this is something I've been noticing recently where I'm like, why can't we, like, and again, everyone's different. Everyone can just, we all have different opinions. That's totally fine. But like when I do replay a game in the current year, I have a completely different appreciation for it than when it drops. And like, I don't know. I don't know.
It also doesn't help that like at the end of the day, the thing that's going to get attention, like it is negativity, right? Like if you were to post a review of Legends EA right now and you were to put Legends EA is the best game I've ever played versus putting a review up that goes Legends EA is a hot pile of garbage, that title will get you way more clicks,
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
And it's because Pokemon has a reputation for being good. So like it saying this is great is like, it's kind of funny because people like to say Pokemon is terrible, Pokemon is bad, but the reason why you get those reactions on those negative viewpoints is because Pokemon has a reputation and a standard of being good. So the Pokemon is bad narrative is more shocking and more surprising. So like even Pokemon haters are kind of indirectly acknowledging that fact by using this narrative to push whatever they're trying to push. It's kind of funny. So
no, dude, I'm totally with you. This is honestly, this is really, really nice. Do you guys have any more thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm only like slightly, I agree with everything you said, Hoops. I'm just slightly like get concerned about the negativity being like something that eventually affects how people think about it in general. You know what I mean? Because it's just, I don't know. People
we get
experience it for themselves. People get influenced by it. And even the creators of the games get influenced by it. Like everyone's reacting really poorly to our product. Like hopefully they don't like get influenced too much by like a bunch of fake negativity. You know what I mean?
I think
that's my only other thought on that really, because it's concerning a bit, but
I think that can definitely happen, but I feel like if anything, it'll only result in something better down the road, and that could happen with Gen 10, because I feel like I said, Game Freak, they know how to make games. They have pride in their games. Nintendo, they have pride in their games. So I think, if anything, all the discourse is going to make them want to make a game that much better, and I feel like that is something that could shine through in Gen 10, and from what we've heard, it feels like that is coming forth, and we have to wait and reserve our judgment until we actually see it. But I like everything we've seen from it has got me feeling pretty good, and so
and they still have a year like or so of development, like a couple months less, but like what we see on Pokemon Day is not the finished product. I was just watching a video on Legends Arceus's like development from the Terra Leak or whatever, and like we got the reveal of Legends Arceus. They were still like, that was the last update that we got of their like creative process of the whole thing. So like then they had a whole year to like kind of a whole year to like polish it and make it look really good. So it's exciting to think about like what we see on Pokemon Day for Gen 10 is not the finished product, and they're still going to be doing like more work on it.
Yeah, like even Scarlet and Violet, you can see touch-ups that were made between the announcement trailer and the launch game.
Yeah,
like if you
just to bring it back to that, like when we see it on Pokemon Day, it's going to be like, this is really cool, but it's going to be even better.
Yeah, like if you think about it, when they dropped that trailer, they didn't make that trailer the day before. They made it like 6 months ago. So the trailer of that game is coming from a build that was active 6 months prior to the release, which is going to be like a year and a half to 2 years old by the time the game comes out, and they're doing work that whole time. So yeah, they're definitely like it'll, and that's not to say that like, I don't know. It's just like they've been working on this game for 3 years at this point. They still have another 6 months probably to work on it. And I think also that extra year, especially because it wasn't like it was kind of like planned for that extra year to be there versus it just kind of happening. I think that will also show through. A lot of people don't realize it, but like, because we talk about delays with like Legends EA and such, and there were, but this game was always planned to be on this year. So it was always planned to have a 4-year development time, 4 years, and like not the regular 3-year development
which
time.
is pretty dope. I mean, that's it's funny. Like, it was scary in the moment. Like when Scarlet and Violet came out, I was like, no, I don't want to wait 4 years.
I know it sucks.
But it happened. It happened. They gave us some. I mean, the hardest.
It did happen, but we did have 1 year where we got absolutely nothing, and that was rough.
But it's like
we survived. We made it through.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, like if this game ends up being kind of the stuff that we felt like we were missing from Scarlet and Violet, then I won't mind going 4 years on this game for Gen 11. You know what I mean? Like it hurt to go 4 years on Scarlet and Violet because that game let us down in a lot of areas. But if Gen 10 doesn't, then it's not going to be as bad of a wait.
That's a really good point. No, I totally agree with that. Like, I do think there was a little bit of like, man, can we just be over with this for now? At this point, you know? I want to just kind of point the conversation in a little bit of a different direction while we have Hoops here. All right, I got a couple questions here. We could do this kind of rapid fire, but also we could take our time with it. The Generation 10 titles, Hoops, what are you expecting these games to be called? Because there are some new rumors for what these games might be called. Where's your mind at? Do you even care?
Of course I care. But what are you talking about?
Wouldn't it have been funny if he had been like, dude, I don't even like really Pokemon.
But no,
it's not like the most pressing question. It's not like, I'm just curious.
No,
I've been thinking about it more.
I would say I specifically care because I'm so into, obviously with what I do on my channel, I'm so into like Pokemon design philosophy. So I care about this stuff. With that said, I have no idea what they would call the game or have anything to go off of other than Winds and Waves, which has been the idea, obviously, and the rumored and the leaked sort of thing. But other than that, I don't really. I mean, that would be my best guess. Like, I don't really have anything else to go off of.
Do you care about? Do you care if there's like different variations of Winds and Waves? So like people, it's so stupid, this question, but it's like people are like, it's Wind and Wave or Winds and Wave, or like all the like little details of it.
Yeah.
And then someone this week was, who may or may not know something, suggested or put out the tweet about like what was it, Pokemon Gales and Tides, which I think is a little bit uglier than Winds and Waves.
Yeah,
I think
Sky and Sea. It's fun.
Right. I think
Sea and Sky is kind of
would be
iconic.
Fine. I think why Winds and Waves works is just because it's the WW.
Yeah.
So that's why you could also do Sea and Sky and have that be fine.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned wind and wave versus winds and waves, because I've had that thought, and I'm like, I think I like winds and waves better because it's
better plural.
Phonetically, it just sounds nicer.
The original leaked documents is wind
Singular,
and wave. Yeah, it is wind and wave. But yeah,
it's
how does
not,
that get translated or localized?
Right. It's also not a huge issue.
Localized.
Like if you had given, I think I don't know this for sure, but I feel like winds and waves is how like it sort of leaked and was presented to us as fans. So like that's like the name I know now, and so changing it to wind and wave feels off. But then like 2 weeks after we get that official reveal, if that's the name, I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like, I
guess it, yeah.
See, my thought is, because I'm glad that you've thought about this too, because I have wrestled with the singular or plural as well, and like I really hate the singular version of it. And it's like what you said, I'll get used to it if that's what it is. But you know, the title is always like a reflection of the legendary, right? Like Scarlet, Violet, Corydon Scarlet, Miraidon's Violet. It just makes sense. So saying like winds and waves, I feel like evokes more power to the legendary than just wind and wave. You know, because it controls the winds, all of them, all the waves.
They're inherently plural. You're right. There's never one wave. It's waves.
In English, it's like, it's got to be at least waves. I was thinking like wind and waves, but then it's like, do they really, take away? Yeah, like one wave is just not enough.
Right.
You know?
That's just me saying hi, you know?
It does make you think like, we're definitely getting waves. I don't know about wind, but yeah, it's interesting to think about.
I was having this conversation with my friend Jake, and he kind of brought up the idea. I thought this was actually really interesting.
I watched that whole live, by the way.
Oh, did you watch it?
Yeah. I was just lurking.
It was a good conversation because he hadn't seen any of the leaks.
And
so I was just kind of like
almost wanted to hop in, but I was like, let's see what's going on. Let's watch it organically.
I was just showing him stuff like just to get his reaction. But I thought it was interesting because he kind of brought up the idea that like wind and wave is, I guess, like I think he said it was like not really that strong of a visual in your mind. I think
I didn't agree with him much on it, but
well, what does a wind look like? You know, and is that something that a little kid is going to be like, oh, I want a wind, like just.
But that's why it needs to be plural.
Sure, good point.
It needs to be plural.
Because plural, it does. Like I said, it makes you think of power, right? Like I live on the coast. When we have a hurricane, we're not worried about the waves. The things that cause damage are the winds. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Like they definitely
if you live directly on the coast, you'd be scared.
If I live right on the beach, the waves get a little more troublesome. But
I guess I just think about like sun and moon. That is like a dichotomy. Those are two things that are in opposition. They stand for different things, right? Same thing with sword and shield, defense, offense, but they're in tandem. I guess Scarlet and Violet's kind of random, and I guess that means nothing. But but like the names aren't anything, but the legendaries very clearly state like future or past. So that's why I thought it was interesting to just bring it up. Like I thought it was an interesting point that like wind and wave, I guess they are in tandem, but like I just think like when you say wind and wave, you're not thinking about what a wind and wave is. You're thinking about the vast ocean, or you're thinking about, I still think wave is wind. I still think wind is kind of like I think about a tree, maybe like a tree blowing in the wind.
Sure.
See, that's interesting. I wanted to push back on it a little bit just because of when I was a kid, like when I would think about, like imagining cool, like elements, like I would always go with the wind element. Like wind was my thing. I'm like the airbender, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm
say,
like the one that's like, I like wind is cool.
You're right. It's a base element. That's actually a good point.
Yeah, but wind's plural is cooler.
It is. It is cooler.
Well, think about this too. The reason why that name also works really well is because you can't have waves without winds. Like they create, so they're really kind of connected together in that way. And then it just like
but isn't it the tides?
I mean, it's like the moon, so gravity. But like, if we're not being super technical about it, wind blows and it blows the water. Like
sure, yeah.
So
I'll say Sorry, go. You finish your point.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just think that name specifically, while other names could be good, I think those names work really well together.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, like, to Dusty's point, I do understand what you're saying about them. They're not like, it's what you just said, Hoops. They're not really opposites. They're more connected than anything, which is an interesting thought for these games. But I do think we do know a little bit. I'm almost like this is a conversation for after it's revealed, but we do know a little bit about like the ideas behind the games, and it's really like about survival and about weather. Yeah. And so like those things, when you put those together and you think about what could the names be, it's like, well, yeah. Winds and waves, you know, like.
Can I add to the conversation? So I just want to bring the idea from that conversation I had with Jake into this. I was like asking him, I'm like, okay, well, if you don't think it's winds and waves, what else would it be? And then after I told him that, like, right, Generation 10 apparently is going to have to do with weather, environment, this infinite, infinity, this idea that like just life goes on forever because of nature. Then he was like, what about winter and summer? And I thought that honestly has stuck with me, because I actually think that is something that is like way stronger of a title, because it's still kind of, it touches on, not only does it touch on like on a visual, you think about like a hot summer day or like, you know, a snowy peak. Those are also opposites. I think it also aligns with like it encompasses both wind and wave. It encompasses weather. It encompasses environment. It encompasses like the constant changing and power of nature.
No, I don't like that. It feels too broad though, where winds and waves feels much more to the point, like what it's capturing, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to crush your hopes and dreams.
Like,
I don't think he even cared about that.
It's evoking more than just winds and waves. It's evoking hot and cold and all this stuff, which is not all they're trying to capture.
Yeah, it doesn't like resonate with the game, like what's going on with the game at all. But also, like, the people in the chat were hilarious about like, this is a place where there is like basically no winter or summer. It's just like on the
I remember that. Yeah, except there is a whole winter island.
Right. Well, they have to, right? Winter and
I just
summer.
like that it was like opposites, and then you even have like down at the bottom, like, right? Because we talk about because here's another thing. This wasn't even on that conversation. If you think about like we were talking about how this region, this Gen 10 region, is going to have all these different environments, right? Mm-hmm. That could also mirror the like your trek around the region could mirror different seasons in a way, right? Which does, I feel like we've talked about Generation 10 maybe being hinted by the Blueberry Academy. And that actually was something that the Blueberry Academy did, where each quadrant represented a different aspect or a different season or whatever. Anyways, all I'm trying to say is I'm obsessed, actually. Jake didn't even care about this.
That's so funny because I low-key hate it.
Well.
I love it so much.
Tongue well. I feel like Pokemon will never do these names because they're so broad as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I don't think summer and winter is that
it's
broad,
casting too wide of a net. That's what I thought too.
What is the net? What does it encompass?
Because like, okay, so you have to think if these legendaries are like storm centered, like they're centered around storms. Okay, well, winter and summer are capturing way more than that. They're capturing cold and hot. They're capturing snow and sun, you know?
Those are the same things. That's hot and cold. And it shows, again...
But that's not wind and waves are not... Wave is not hot. You know?
I don't know. Winter winds and summer waves.
It's like I said, you're capturing more than just the winds and the waves.
But that's the same thing.
You're casting too broad of a net. It's included in there, but it's other stuff too. You know,
summer sun and winter snow. It's like it always has to have a describer with it because it's such a like.
I feel like
summer sun and winter moon. Those are the names of the Gen 7 remakes.
Or no, the Gen 5 remakes, bro. This is Gen 5.
Why would it be Sun and Moon for the Gen 5 remakes?
No, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Seasons, though.
Yeah, if Gen 10 leans on seasons, then we get our Gen 5 remake, which again is all about the seasons. That actually could work really well.
Winter white.
Winter works too, because like I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. You know.
I was gonna say those names remind me of like Sun and Moon, and how Sun and Moon. If you play Sun version, it starts in the daytime. If you play Moon, it starts in the night. So
Yeah.
those names would almost, like, if you played winter, it would have to be like snowy, which doesn't necessarily work. Like, at least for like the start of the game, it changes too much, I feel like.
I mean, that's actually kind of cool though, because when I pick up Black and White, the last time I picked it up and started a save file, it was in December, and I did for the first time started a Unova playthrough in winter, which actually was kind of cool.
It could.
I got it.
Think,
and made the. Oh yeah.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I think that would work way better for Unova because it already has the seasons, and it's in a place that like can better show off winter versus Indonesia, which isn't. So it's more tropical,
non-existent.
So, yeah.
I got it though. It's Pokemon Day Out and Pokemon Night.
Sure.
That's
day and night. Pokemon Day and Night.
They reveal the game without actually telling us they revealed it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the Gen 7 remakes. Day out, night out.
Day out, night out.
I mostly just I'm just curious to see what the Gen 10 titles are actually going to be on Pokemon Day.
They could change it tomorrow if they wanted to, you know.
I'm like kind of expecting to just kind of be I guess I with any of this, anytime we have information, I do want to be surprised, you know.
Remember leading up to Gen 8 when everybody thought it would be King and Queen?
Yeah, exactly.
And wasn't it like supposed to be that at one point? Didn't the Terra Leak say that?
I think what it was is they didn't know what they were going to actually name it.
And
that's
like
all we know. They were like, we didn't know until like the last few weeks before the reveal or something like that.
Yeah. So what do we think what do we think the legendary Pokemon are going to be like?
My grandma and grandpa.
No.
I mean, literally, it says it's going to be like a wind grandma and a wave grandpa.
No. Like, that's actually, like, you're onto something with that, because I can totally see like a wind grandpa having a giant beard and a mustache made of winds, of gales.
Yeah.
And then the grandma having long hair that's made of waves. Like,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
or like a
cool.
flowy, wavy dress, you know?
Yeah, I can see that. Hopefully they're not actually
I'm hoping it's a little bit more...
And they're monster-like, but like as a motif, I can see that. Like as just a pepper.
Yeah, I'm not expecting... Because I don't think it... So for listeners, in the Terra Leak, there's a couple lines that kind of describe what the legendary Pokemon are going to be, and one of them is supposed to be like a grandma, one of them is supposed to be like a grandfather. And I think that could just be interpretive, you know?
Yeah.
That can be,
like they're just old.
Real quick, guys, I just wanted to remind you that we have a merch store. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, all of these products come with custom designs by our friend Noivi. This stuff is so high quality, super comfortable. I'm wearing one right now, and I like a thick T-shirt. And guess what? This thing is thick. This thing is durable, right? It's one of my favorite T-shirts, and I got the Hidden Legacy premium tee in green. Love it, right? Green. I love a good green T-shirt. And I got a DM recently from a community member. I won't say who they are. They know who they are. They told me about the fact that they were wearing their Hidden Power Mega Evolution hat to a Pokemon event recently, and they just kept getting compliments. People were like, where'd you get this hat? I want one of these hats. And they had to tell them that they got it at shop.hiddenpowerpodcast.com. They were like, go check out Hidden Power. They got some good stuff for you. And that's our goal. Me and Noivi worked really hard together to create designs and products that are subtle, right? It's everyday Pokemon appreciation that actually looks good. You can wear it to work probably, and your boss wouldn't be the wiser. I also want to let you know that if you're a Patreon or YouTube channel member supporter, you get 10% off everything on our merch store. So links are in the description, shop.hiddenpowerpodcast.com. Go check it out. You might find something that you like.
Gen 6 was...
I'd say Gen 6.
Yeah, Gen 6 is where they really kind of leaned into it.
It started going there, yeah.
Because Greninja and Delphox are super humanoid, but Greninja gets a pass because, again, it does more monster-like things versus human-like things. And then Gen 7, it kind of falls off the rails with Incineroar and Primarina, and
Incineroar is just as bad for me, to be honest, because I just don't...
Yeah.
I don't like the like man chest. Like he's
got
like
abs
a
and
full-on,
pecs. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a full-on upper body of a man. It's the same thing as like with
And a
Quacklevolt,
belt.
except
What?
it's that whole part of him that's like that's
Yeah.
a person.
I always looked at Incineroar as, to me, it looks like a Looney Tune. Like it looks like Sylvester the cat when he's got this like buff man physique going on. There's a screenshot of that I've used in videos before, and they look identical. So I'm like, it just looks like a Looney Tune. It doesn't look like a Pokemon. Like it looks like a Looney Tune more than it looks like a Pokemon, and it looks like a person more than it looks like a Pokemon. So Pokemon is like,
it's funny that like Incineroar has actually grown on me the most. I'm actually like less and less offended by Incineroar. Just over time.
I can feel...
I think that's just because it's kind of like what we said about like with the games, where when it first drops, you're like, "Whoa, what is this?" But gradually, it's there, so it starts normalizing itself to you.
I feel that way a little bit, but I still don't like it because to me, it's just a buff Litten. They just put Litten on two legs and then made it buff, and I'm like,
it's Litten. It's
Litten
literally
on two
Litten's
legs
head.
and some roids.
They just took Litten's head and like put it on a man's body.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I still can't. I like its face. That's literally it.
Yeah.
The rest.
Yeah. All right. I wanna kind of just get us back on track. Hoops. What are the 3 inspirations that you'd want for like starter Pokemon for Gen 10?
Ooh.
Okay, so I mean, there's a lot of ways you could go, and I don't have like definitive favorites for each thing, but let's see. I think it's going to be really interesting. Yeah, you kind of put me on the spot there. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with the fire starter and see whether they go non-Zodiac or Zodiac, because that's a whole question.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that. There's been rumblings about a bear. I would love a bear. That would be great.
Yeah.
The water starter is also interesting because the water starter has to be able to walk on land as well as be in the water. That's like a rule that all of them follow. And there's kind of limited options with that. So I'm thinking, I don't know, like we're in Indonesia, so like, I don't know. There's options there, but nothing's coming to me right off the top of my head, to be honest.
I would say like I would even put it towards like, what do you want to see more than anything?
What do I
Maybe
want?
more than what it
Like are there
could
certain
be.
species that you're like, oh, I'd love a grass elephant or whatever.
Right. I mean that would be cool. I don't know that there's like a specific thing that I'm just like dying to see in a starter per se. I just want them to be good. One thing
fair.
I will say is there is one that I think would be distinctly cool, and then one that I also don't want as much. One that I do think would be cool is, we've kind of had it before, but not really, is a dog. Because we had Fennekin, but it wasn't like true dog. I think like, because we've had lots of cats, I think a true puppy dog would be fun.
Yeah.
So good, man. No, I'm totally on board. I'm sick of the cats. I'm like, I know that the internet loves cats. People love cats, but they're kind of gross creatures. Dogs are amazing. Dogs are man's best friend.
Dogs are also gross too in some ways. I'm saying
no,
that
but
as
they're
a guy
not.
with a dog.
They've evolved alongside of us. They're gross in the same way that humans are gross.
They are gross.
But they're as gross as humans are gross. Like,
no, they're not.
evolved.
I don't eat my own crap.
But where do you put your toothbrush in the bathroom? Because there's particles.
I actually seal my toothbrush and put it in a drawer. There's a fun fact for you.
Me too, buddy. All right. A puppy dog would be so good. I mean, I don't know. Come on.
Yeah, no.
Honestly,
good.
Rockruff felt like the closest we could have gotten to that.
And I made like for my current Fakemon region I'm doing, I made a grass type dog, and
Nice.
Not to glaze myself, but every time I look at it, I'm like, that's so good. Like, I love that so much.
Yeah.
And then the other,
What kind of dog was it?
it's so
Grass type.
So it actually, I think it comes from the like Australian part of the world, but it's this dog that's like a white dog, and it's called like the cotton dog because it's so white and fluffy. So I made like
That's
a
great.
dog with a cotton motif, and its name is Pupparoot, and I love it. It's amazing. But to go,
It is really good.
To go to the
super well thought out.
To go to the other side of the spectrum, Soul has been talking a lot about a water type monkey, and that is a possibility because like we've had grass monkey and fire monkey, so water monkey. I've thought about that before, but like I'm not really into the monkey starters, so I kind of hope that doesn't happen.
Yes.
I hope it doesn't happen either. I don't want no monkey.
Otherwise,
I don't like the monkeys.
otherwise though, like I truly don't have that much of an opinion on like what they are. I just want them to be good, and that's like just like to me, anything can be a good Pokemon. So like I don't care what it is, just make it good, make it fun. That's really what I want, because I feel like we haven't had a trio of starters, at least for the final evolutions. There's been pretty good first stages, but in terms of the final evolutions, we haven't had like a good, like solid trio since Gen 6, in my opinion. Like it's been 3 generations of like disappointment, and I want to be excited. I want to have fun with my starter, because
Yeah. I also think I think like Generation 8 specifically, those starter Pokemon, like I feel like it was more difficult to appreciate those because they had such boring typings, and I felt like all of their concepts were kind of one note. Like even though they incorporated like a job, right, a humanoid job into the design, like it still just felt one note. And I still think I'm like, if Raboot, what was it? If Cinderace was created with the idea that it would have an electric type, for example, like there would be different layers to that design, which might, and the design might just end up being something that is, maybe more appreciated or whatever. So I think there's been some instances where it's like we get and I guess Generation 9 and Generation 7 did give us pretty unique, and 6 type combinations. But I think, I feel like I just wanted to say that.
Maybe
the type
that
combinations matter.
Maybe part of the issue with that too is, like you said, we're giving too many of them a job. It's like Quackleval is a dancer.
Oh, dude, it's the job. Their job mons.
Is a magician.
Mm-hmm.
Greninja, even though it's
I think
good,
Skeledirge is a singer, but it's like he's a crocodile, and it's like it feels fantastical. It feels like not a job. Anything can sing.
And he's a clown.
That's funny because we just went full circle. I think Gen 6 is where it started, and that's what's made them more humanoid in general. It's just like since Gen 6, they've been, the ninja, the paladin, and the magician, Gen 7, the archer, the wrestler, and the mermaid singer, on and on it goes until we get to, this next generation. It's like, are they going to do that again? Most likely, I think, just because that's what they've given them, like this identity with them. I guess, and it's just it's related to human. I don't want to say jobs, but I guess jobs, not jobs.
See, I wish they'd be more like themes, though. Like it felt like themes with Gen 6, not like I feel like my Quackleval actually like clocks in and clocks out of a job somewhere, versus like my Greninja just has ninja traits,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think those are pretty good. We've done a bunch of episodes on like what starter Pokemon we want to see in Generation 10. So if you're listening to this, go check those out. They're up on the channel, on our channel. It's like one of the last few videos that we put out this month.
Loxton even joined us.
Yeah, that was honestly such a fun episode. And then Hoops, I guess I'll just, I also want to know, like, what kind of Pokemon do you want to see in general? Like, this is you've put out a lot of really cool videos recently. Talking about what kind of Pokemon you would want in Generation 10. Is there anything in specific that you want to kind of highlight? For I guess listeners, like the rumor is that this region is going to be inspired by Indonesia, Southeast Asia. There's going to be a couple other countries in there that might inspire some designs that we get in Gen 10. I don't know. Is there anything like top of mind where you're like, this has to happen?
It's kind of similar to the starters, where I mostly just want good Pokemon. I don't care what they're based on. But I would really like to see them lean on the fact that we're so close to Australia and do some Australian Pokemon. And the one that comes to mind the most for me is a platypus. Like, give us a cool, nice, fun. That would be a great water starter, and that's not a new idea, but it would. Like a fun platypus Pokemon would be really cool. I could go on and on, but mostly, like, I think.
Well, I'm curious. Yeah,
I think they've picked a great part of the world in terms of Pokemon potential because the wildlife is just so exotic down there. Like, I just want to see good designs that are well thought out, that have cool inspirations. That's what I care about more than anything. But like, again, I think I probably like some of the classic Australia animals, like platypus, kangaroo. There's any of the innumerable number of like the nightmare fuel type of animals that are just like, those would make for great Pokemon.
I really liked your the tiger one that you made, because it was like not a normal kind of just tiger. It's like more than a tiger.
Right, yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, so for people who don't know, I did this speculation video about what we could see in an Indonesian region, and I made a Pokemon that's based on the Javan tiger. So it's a tiger Pokemon, which isn't crazy, but it's based on the concept that it was thought of to be extinct recently, like locally in the area. And so the concept is that it starts out as just this regular tiger Pokemon, but then evolves into a ghost type because it's extinct, like it progresses into extinction.
That's cool.
And stuff like that is what I want to see, because that's what I really love in Pokemon designs, when they take two elements and they blend them together in this creative way. That's my favorite thing about the Pokemon designs. So I just want to see that stuff, and lots of it, and I want to see creative ideas, and and as long as they do that, they can give us anything, and that's the beauty of Pokemon. Like, I would take a French fry Pokemon, I would take a rock Pokemon. As long as they do something cool with it, I'm down. Like, that's the beauty of
it. Applin, Convergent Applin, it's not based on an apple, a worm that eats an apple, but it's like a worm that eats a potato, which in French is the apple of the earth, is what a potato is called. But that'll have to be for the next. That'll have to be for Pokemon W and Z. What's the other one? U and W.
U and V.
UV. That's kind of cool.
Just
Pokemon UV, and it connects to like
sun.
Ultraviolet rays of
light.
Oh, it's like a Necrozma game.
Yeah.
Soul Sun.
I'm just kidding. Keep going. Yeah.
That's more of that, please. More of that.
I want a Convergent Applin where the apple is eating the worm.
Ooh,
that would be cool.
That's cool.
That'd be something. That'd be something.
Well, Hoops, thanks for hopping on to yap with us a little bit more about Generation 10 before Pokemon Day actually happens. Yeah, dude, I'm such a fan of your channel because of how creative your prompts are. You're always giving yourself like a prompt that you're gonna base what the video or what Pokemon you're gonna that you're gonna create after. So I think your channel, all your content, it's chock full of like really, really cool Pokemon designs. I've been a big fan. Glad you could be on the podcast again. Yeah, dude, appreciate it. And do we have anything else to say before I just end the show?
Well, what's going on your channel, Hoops? Anything like specific for people to look forward to? Plug whatever you want.
Just, gearing up for Gen 10. Like I told you guys earlier before we started recording that like I've got so many fun things to talk about, and I'm just waiting for that Pokemon Day to happen so the floodgates can open and we can really get into it. But I've got a lot of really fun like projects and video ideas, and just like you do here, I'm gonna be talking and giving my thoughts about all the Gen 10 stuff. So it's gonna be a good time to follow, and as always, thank you guys as well for having me on, because I love coming on here and yapping about stuff. So.
Of course, man.
Always
100%.
a pleasure.
Of course, bro.
You're dude. You're part of the. What do we with the? It's been over 3 years, and I'm still like, I don't know what to call us. I'm like, are we a team? Are we a family? Are we the Hidden Power universe? Like, I feel like nothing has really clicked, but Hoops, you're part of it. Whatever we are, you're part of it. No, 100%. If you're listening right now and you came over from Hoops' channel because of the collaboration feature, first off, thanks, but subscribe because Hoops has been on so many times before, and he will be on after Pokemon Day. We're definitely gonna get him back on the show. So
we haven't even talked to him about that. We just kind of told him he's coming back on. I'm pretty sure.
I'm just hearing about it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Hidden Power. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the support. Thanks for subscribing and watching. This is the this is the home for Pokemon discussion. I'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.